Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage, and we are today going to do a little bit of modification to my chassis table. So a number of years ago, I built this chassis table from basically scrap metal that I got at the local salvage yard that I love to go to. You guys have seen us stop there a bunch of times, but it was built out of some old I-beam, some box tubing, and some casters that we salvaged at the scrap yard. And I actually built this table on an Eastwood video that has been pretty popular. If you look it up on Eastwood channel or search Eastwood chassis table, you can see it. And I've had this table and I've done a ton of work on it over the years. And the way I built this was for the Pagoda City Coupe, to build the chassis for that. And I've modified and did different stuff over the years to build different chassis. But what I didn't do, and in hindsight I wish I would have done, was set the table up so that I could set a whole entire car on top of it with the wheels and tires, especially a small car like a little Roadster or Model A or 32 Ford, so that I could set the castor and do some of the patch panels up higher and I'm not laying on the ground. Aaron's Roadster that we were doing some work on that used to sit on this table was really nice to do the patch panels on the table, and I'd like to do that with the Sweet Heart Roadster. So what we're going to do is take some additional spare material that I have laying around, and we're going to make some little plates to actually weld to the table to set the tires of the Sweet Heart Roadster on the table on those plates, and then we can kind of clamp the car down and start working on getting some rust repair done, getting the bat wings built, all that different stuff. So Jason already helped me get some of the material together and get some of the stuff sanded, so really I just got to do some assembly and clamping things together, and we can move the car over to the lift, slide it under, put it on. Hopefully everything goes pretty well. So I'm going to get to work and get the MIG welder out and start burning some welds in. Alright, so here's the general idea of what we're doing. I pulled out a bunch of heavy plate here that we have that are 12 by 12 squares that I got from metal yard somewhere, but they're nicely cut 12 by 12 squares. These are going to be our pads for our tires to sit on, which will be really nice. But we don't want to just weld these hanging off the end, because then you're putting all that weight on just your welds here on a butt weld, which is definitely not going to be very safe. So what we did is we dug around, and I had these pieces that I salvaged from an old from a metal yard, I believe, but they were putting a press brake, and this is really thick stuff here. I think it's like 1/2 inch steel, maybe. Yeah, 1/2 inch. So this is 1/2 inch, and it was bent into a radius. What's nice about that is it fits right in our I-beam here on the side, and we can put this in and butt it against, and we can weld here for the top plates. So the way I'm going to do it, we're going to weld down the sides and stitch it in, but then also what we're going to do is, I have one mocked up over here, we're going to put this plate on top of this bent piece here and mount everything in, and this center 1/2 inch plate will get it so that this plate sits level with the top here, and then we can weld across some stitches across the top. We can weld along that brace. I'm going to weld it, stitch weld the bent piece to this plate here, and everything should be pretty darn sturdy once we weld all that in. This is going to be something I'm not going to fully seam weld. We're just going to stitch weld it, so it's definitely going to be strong enough to hold the chassis. We're not going to be like bouncing around, but I also want to make it so that I can cut it apart if I want to change and do a different type of frame, or we need a longer or shorter wheelbase. We can simply just trim 2 of these and move them. I'll probably leave, like, say the front ones where they're at, and then these rear ones we can cut and slide them around to match the wheelbase of the car. But I know there's better ways. You could probably do it by locating some holes and making it fully adjustable, but for what we're doing, just cutting the stitch welds and moving stuff around works just fine. So that's what we're going to do. So I got one already set up here, laid out. I'm going to stitch weld it to the plate, then we can set it down on the table and start welding everything in. But that's the general idea that we got going here. I would say I might be able to lift if you want to try it.
Well, this thing around and jockey, if you only have 2 cameras.
Yeah. That's all right. Now we're close enough. I can get a lot of the table underneath. That rear end gets some like I can actually slide the body.
Wait, man. Now when I push into this well,
What's that?
can you lift it? Yeah, hold on.
Probably like to go push the table back on there.
I'll wheel this front. Where far you want to go here?
Okay. Yeah, it's not bad here. It's just a little crooked. It's not bad here.
You're good up here yet.
I'm on that right rear. I'm already down on. So it's. So we got some weight on it.
Yeah.
The only thing is, where I'd like to put this push. That's a little better. All right, you okay there?
Yeah.
Pretty.
That's good. You get that.
Yeah. It's off.
Now, what are you going to do with truck?
Well, mainly it would be the rear wheel. If I could, because I'm going to be messing with the castor, so it's probably mainly the rear
Well,
wheels.
then why don't you get a couple pieces of angle, pack them on the outside, and chuck
Yeah.
your wheel front and back.
Okay. All right, so we got the whole entire Roadster picked up in the air. I ended up last minute not feeling like moving all the cars over here to get this on the lift. So Joe and I kind of did it this slightly sketchy way and used some lifting straps and the chain hoist and lift it up. Honestly, the chain hoist has plenty of strength to lift it. Really, it's just difficult without having multiple hoists and only lifting in one position to get it to lift just right. And I was a little impatient. So we just made it work, got it underneath, everything's safe, nothing fell, nothing got damaged. We're okay. So now that we got this mounted up on here, I also, in between the last shots of putting it on the table, threw some chocks, I tack welded some pieces of angle iron in the front and the back of both rear wheels so that the car can't go anywhere. I'm going to be moving around the front end, so I didn't want to chock them, not knowing exactly where they need to be with getting the alignment all set up and the castor and all that done. So now that I got it on the table, super psyched. I can, number one, move this car around a lot easier, and number two, I don't have to be laying on the ground when I'm doing work on it. As mentioned earlier, I want to do the bat wings on this to mount those hairpins that I made in, feels like forever ago, but those hairpins I made for the car earlier this summer. I need to make the bat wings to get them mounted to the axle. We can get the castor set, get that locked in. Then the suspension stuff on the car is pretty far along, and we can continue on with the rust repair. So really psyched on this. This is just some of the stuff that I've been waiting to do. People have been asking like what's going on with different projects. Well, sometimes I need to stop on a project because we need to do some rearranging or change the orientation of how the car is set up. And this was that instance where I needed to get the space and time to add these outriggers onto the table and then get the car up on the table. But it is done. Now it'll be a little easier to start picking away at some of the work that needs done on this. I'm really excited to start moving forward this car. Definitely this winter, after we're buttoning up some other projects this summer, I'll be getting back on this car pretty hard now that I got stuff kind of under control. So thank you guys for watching, appreciate it. Let me know what you think of the new setup here and what you think of the car now that's kind of up and you can really see the lines of the car. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Thanks guys, catch you later.